Alright, welcome back to the finals of the Lycan League! It's game number 3 in the best of 5. Spawning here in the top right corner of the map from Team USA from Evil Geniuses, it's the blue Terran, XenoCider.
The bottom left of the red Zerg, it's Acer's Bly.
Alright, so I gave XenoCider a little bit of motivation during the lobby. Basically said, if you lose this, you have to give up your American citizenship and become Canadian. So he says, no worries, I'm gonna win this game.
That confidence. Well. Anywho. We do have another Reaper opener. It looks like from XenoCider, it's probably your best bet. You just gotta figure out that they're cheesing and try and defend it. And, you know, so far XenoCider, he didn't know, so he died. He did know, but he still died. So hopefully this time he'll know and he won't die. But then this is the perfect opportunity for Bly not to cheese, right? Bam. Figured out what's gonna happen in this game.
It's overgrowth, though. I mean, whether it's cheese or not, the classic map that this is, it's been around, I think, more than... I gotta tell you, like, I wonder if someone can pull out the stats. Has this actually been around longer than Belcher was around? I think this is actually the longest running map in any map pool. Because this is,
I don't know.
This is 3 seasons long, isn't it?
You're forgetting the point where, first of all, when they didn't really have seasons. Like, they were like 6-month seasons or whatever. And second of all, like, just the old maps that were in the map pool forever. I mean, they really did not have quick map pool updates for a very long time. Not until they implemented WCS, as it is as we know it.
I guess. But regardless of, I don't know, seasons or not, I still feel like this is probably one of the longest running maps, period. Oh. So regardless of whether that's a true fact or not, the point is it's been well practiced. They've seen it season after season after season, and I think one of the biggest parts with that being said is that every type of cheese, every type of all-in, it's been seen, it's been defended. You've witnessed how to do things right. You could argue that on a map like Expedition Lost, it's still new, so maybe that's why XenoCider is looking a little bit green around the edges or whatever. But this map, there's no excuse for things like that. So we do have a couple links that managed to sneak by. Not 6 like we see Bly do normally, but just 4. However, that should be enough to get an SV kill if the Reaper were to not stay at home. He's actually going to see the Reaper leave with the Overlord. As you see, it also sit there too.
Yeah, good. Very good for XenoCider to just go ahead and do that. I mean, you gotta know by now that Bly's gonna do this every single game. Whether it's 2, 4, 6, gotta be careful.
Well, not bad to start. I mean, picking off a drone is always nice. Not losing the Reaper, of course, even better. But I guess, okay, here's my question for you, Zombie Grub. Even with these double gases coming out, do you think we see a fast third CC? Or do you think he just tries to put on a lot of pressure?
No, he'll go Banshees first this game in the 3CC. I think.
Yeah. Well, with the second gas, it makes a lot of sense. But I just meant rushing out. Like, there's a third CC, I guess is what I meant to say. Ooh. Like, you would put in base, and there's like a third base you would take. Oh, is he actually... He's not going to see this unless that Reaper gets back there, and that's going to be a lot easier said than done.
He definitely could if he just wanted to suicide it, but there's always like... You never really want to suicide the Reaper. It's a unit.
My leg is suddenly bleeding a lot, and I don't know what from. So, what? I'm going to put the camera on you for a sec and take care of this really quickly, because I don't know what the fuck just happened.
Well... Alright then.
Sorry, you guys can see white bars. I'll try to be fast. I gotta get a band-aid. We're back.
I guess it's better. I thought what he was gonna say was that like, uh-oh, my arm just went numb, and I was like, oh my god, you're gonna die in this cast, aren't you, Rifkin? You're gonna leave me hanging forever. But I guess bleeding is okay. Anyways, roaches are now popping out. So I do not believe the Reaper is scouted. They just went home to try and be a part of the Hellion group. No, sir. No, sirree. And they're not taking the Xel'Nagas either. So he will know at the very, very last second that is in fact roaches. And again, XenoCider are not going for the bunker. As it looks like he would never have gone for the bunker anyways. He would have done like a wall, supply depot wall off, weird supply depot wall off. But now he tries, and it's too late. Lings are on top of the SCVs. He's gonna just have to give up his natural. Last game, he managed to get the SCVs into the main. That was a good start, but then ultimately he did end up dying. This game, he's just gonna deal with it being in the low ground. Oh, actually, no, he gets it in there. Okay. I guess those Lings just really far ahead of the pack. All right, then. The Banshees pops out. A good time. He's got the wall in the main to help defend. he'll defend, and he shouldn't take as many SCV losses as last time. He doesn't have the third CC, so if he does take SCV losses, it'll be harder to come back, but I think he'll be okay. Losing 2.5 supply depots is one was building. That hurts. I mean, supply blocks. That was riddles, right? But so far, so good. This was finally the opener that XenoCider needed to not take any damage, not take much damage. And it worked out really, really great. But that doesn't mean that Bly is just saying there like, oh man, that didn't work. Like, what do I do now? I'm so bad at this game. Because he's not, okay? He's really good. So he's doing exactly what he did the last 2 games, I believe. Or at least definitely the last game. Goes for the fairly fast lair afterwards. Seems to be going into Roach speed.
Sorry, I'm back. I did as quick as I could. So yeah, I don't know what happened. I just kind of felt like I thought there was like a spider on my leg or something. So I go to smack it, and it's like my hand's full of blood. I don't know if I got nicked or something, but ugh.
The spider was on your leg. It bit you. You're gonna turn into Spider-Man.
No, I'm pretty sure like this turns into like a snake bite, one of those horrible Reddit stories. More than that.
Oh my god, we're like the bonus showing. Oh my god.
I really hope it's not. But I got a Band-Aid on it, so hey, it's not making a mess, and I can worry about that later. Casting comes first. This is what you call passion. Nice way to kill an SCV. Holy cow. That was a kamikaze and a half right there. So a little bit of a stall out, but
yeah. So what you missed is basically the attack from Bly. Didn't do anything. Can't kill 2 supply depots and barely any SCVs. So he's looking pretty good finally.
I guess the Roach is revealed. If the Banshees, they're really not going to get a lot done with transfuses available on these queens. But keeping those alive to defend against an attack is pretty big. So it's no longer about just picking off a couple of drones and maybe losing the Banshees or maybe not. Because, you know, there's not a huge line of siege tanks behind this. There's barely any Widow Mines. XenoCider doesn't quite have this bio count with medevac support to deal with a Roach attack. So while he is kind of fooling around with the Banshees, I just feel like a couple of drone kills isn't going to be worth living.
Yes, this is pretty bad. I was, jokingly, like, earlier on, like, Bly knew what to do after that didn't work out. Like, okay, last 2 games you won pretty easily, but this is the 3rd stage you haven't seen yet. And apparently XenoCider isn't considering the 3rd stage either. He was just like, great, I survived the 1st stage in the 2nd one, and, well, now I'm gonna die to the 3rd one.
The last one of the bench. He's got stim. He's got medevacs. He's got damage in this army.
He's in his choke.
Yeah, I feel like we're watching the same game, and every time it goes slightly different. Like XenoCider does something that's a little bit better, but
right.
Maybe if this was like a best of 7 or a best of 9, we could easily see this turnaround. But cool pickup on the SCVs to keep those alive.
He won't be able to go up this ramp, and now the Banshees are back home. He will once again only really deal damage to the structures. I mean, sure, you got a couple SCVs, but not as many as we were thinking, and it does require another liftoff, and it is economy loss. But Bly, it's not like he's on 70 drones behind this. This is still manageable for XenoCider. Just don't lose your army.
Yeah, it's really hard to take a fight around this ramp, period. Banshee's doing an okay amount of damage, and a lot of these Roaches are low, but still pushing out into that was always going to be dangerous. You know, you go through that ramp into a concave, and you'll have a bad time. But looks like the tank's out, looks like his production's up, and with a 3rd CC, he was denied a bit of mining time through this, but I urge us all to look at Bly's drone count behind this. It's not like he sailed to 70 into this crazy attack where he gets monstrously far ahead. This was a setback for XenoCider, but I don't think by much.
Yeah, he has survived all aggression so far from Bly. He is looking good. And of course, Bly isn't over and done with. He's going to roll over. He's going to go into Hydras. Roach Burrow is also going to be a headache to deal with, used correctly. And of course, drops are going to be even maybe more of a headache. We'll see how Bly spreads his units. So far, they're all in a clump.
I mean, Roach Hydra is this really brute force move that's hard to deal with. We see some of the best Terran players struggle with it, to what is not even like top tier Zergs, but Bly's definitely a top tier Zerg, and while getting this lair is a pretty big deal, not because it'll deny Burrow, which it just barely might, but it will also stave off Hive Tech, which means no Vipers to pair up with this.
Yeah, and he saved most of that drop. That was really good.
Yeah. Definitely what XenoCider needed for this game. 3rd base is trying to establish, but I almost feel like this is the time when Terran players start throwing because they over-dedicate or under-dedicate to a 3rd that spirals into a really bad follow-up. But Bly helped kill the Queen by mistake, so there's nothing to shoot the medevacs as they disengage.
That's what happened. Okay.
That was awkward. Oh, the Burrow though.
Just barely not in time. Now the good news is
you could see
there's
this
no
though.
second
XenoCider
attack. Only. It's really hard to see still.
It is.
But there's
yeah.
no second attack, you know? There's 2 attacks in the natural and the main. He'll clean that up. There's no third attack going to his third, which would be what I would be most scared of, you know? If there's a Roach Hider attack about to kill it. As such, this would be SCV damage, but it's okay.
Can you imagine if Xeno tries to put like a turret down right now just because you habit for mutas and you can't because it's blocked out?
He's like, what?
And that's what the signal is. Like, oh, this Roach is.
Yeah. Oh, looks like Bly might just be waiting for what I was talking about. Waiting until he has a bigger army to attack the third.
This is actually something we've seen Bly do a lot more in ZVZ than ZVTs. He'll wait. He will seriously wait 20 minutes if he can. I've seen him wait a long time to do these on burrows, and the idea is that you draw the entire army to the wrong spot and get that damage done. But XenoCider now aware that there's burrowed roaches. He knows this to be a fact. I'm still just waiting to see Bly on burrow. He's waiting and buying his time.
A Banshee looks like it's killing the third, by the way, or a Marine or something. Banshee. It's kind of funny. No fourth for you. Sorry, fourth.
Okay. Sorry, I was making sure I didn't miss too much. Not gonna lie, I'm a little bit distracted. Oh, nice kill, not a cancel. You know, roaches still have not unburrowed yet. Still just keep checking back on these. It's kind of like Jaws. Like, we know it's coming. The audience knows it's coming, but the swimmer in the ocean doesn't, right? This is like,
Without these roaches burrowed and, you know, potential damage that could come, it is looking kind of bad for Bly. I mean, he was only on 2 bases for a long time. Now they get that main back up, and that 4th base wasn't even canceled.
Yeah,
his army is not that strong. He doesn't even have the upgrades.
Right, and even though it is Roach Hydra and a similar army count, I kind of feel without Infestor support, without Viper support, if it's a base trade, I think Xeno wins the base trade.
Yeah, well, I'll leave it there.
Oh, he catches the tanks really on siege, though. Good start.
Yeah. We're getting to a point, though, where maybe tanks are going to be the absolutely integral parts that they would have been earlier on, like a defensive stance. But roaches do pop up. They're doing a lot of SCV damage. More so, they're making XenoCider choose to where to focus on, you know? Like, you can't really push in on Creep versus Zerg army if you're distracted back at home.
Yeah. I mean, 19 workers killed is really not that crazy when you think about it, but it's the fact that he's burning a lot of scans. He is going to take the fight on the other side of the map. Oh, the sandwich for Bly is going to go so well just because the Hydras have so much health, or damage, but they don't have a lot of health, so he's actually focused on a couple of these now. Going to try and boost out of there with those medevacs. Tanks will get a couple more shots of. Oh, please bring the rest of the medevacs. There we go. Resources lost. Trades out fairly evenly, but the production was kind of compromised a bit. He still hasn't fully dealt with everything here in the main.
Or the natural.
Or the natural, even. Yeah, there's a couple of roaches being chased around there.
I mean, these roaches are actually doing more than just CD damage. You're getting a couple of reactors, buildings, and actually a couple of armies as well. But this side is not cleaned up. Oh.
Exactly, and more than anything else, it's drawn XenoCider completely out of position, so he's not ready for this fight, the main fight.
He does have better upgrades right
actually,
now.
Bly?
2 over 1-1. That's really important. Bly gives up his roaches. I guess he was expecting to burrow them, but realizing there's too many missile turrets.
That was interesting. He pulled the Hydras back very much right away, so either he was just willing to sacrifice in the first place or his mistake. I don't know which, but XenoCider snipes off that 4th base once again. Bly has not really spiraled out of control off this attack. It was a nice defense into a decent counter, but still, it's these 3 or 6 roaches that have been winning him this game more than anything else.
Yeah, keeping it an evenish game.
Well, Xeno's actually finally mined out the main, so that's one way to minimize where your where your weak spots are, I guess. Marines, please. What do you guys?
Yeah, with the upgrades evening up once more for Bly, that's going to be very important. I mean, still, like, pure bio with medevac coverage and even a couple of tanks is going to be the better composition. But, you know, Bly's going to have the better economy, the better remax, if the trade does go at least somewhat well.
Well, for XenoCider's sake, I'm really just... His army is so impressive to look at. Yeah. But his economy, not so much. For someone with a lot of mules, like, this number shouldn't be barely 1,000, but... It's the consequence of the way things have gone. Now, he's still hitting at a time, and the Bly doesn't have support. This is a huge Hydra army with very little to buffer for it. As soon as he breaks those roaches, the Hydras are gonna melt.
Yeah. There's still quite a few medevacs as well, so there's no chance of, like, over-stimming. The tanks get into a decent position if they're allowed close enough to the 3rd as well, right next to that kitchen. It's gonna be an interesting battle. Like, I really don't know who this will go well for. The bio with 2-2 usually does, but sometimes like a better concave, or maybe the like excessive Hydra damage will win out. I'm not sure.
I think if Xeno takes one medevac of Marines to the main, oh, there we go, and takes a decent concave. Oh, okay.
Great idea, Rifkin.
If he properly controls a medevac to the main. I was gonna say that would have been a great way to segment and split, but this army in the middle of the map still gonna pick up some roaches. I mean, medevacs are great, but he's just gonna disengage and get scared of the hydras. For XenoCider's sake, how many scans does he burn for this? I'm thinking 10 plus at this point. It would have been so good to have invested into a Raven forever ago.
Yeah, maybe. Huge Roach attack. I mean, this would be enough to kill the command center if there's not paying enough attention.
I mean, again, just going back to the resources lost, Bly hasn't caused that much damage through that, but like the attention that XenoCider's had to spend it back at home, the production being compromised, everything being shuffled all over willy-nilly. I mean, this is the Roach attacks out of Bly have been fantastic this game, even though they haven't done objectively a lot of damage. And even now, unloading one at a time Marines into Roaches like this, that's not going to go well.
Can't tell if that was on purpose or he was loading up for a Doom drop.
I think he went back home to defend. He knew the Roaches segmented off. So
that's true. That's true.
And the thing is, Roaches are fairly cheap. Losing Roaches like this for Bly is really not that big of a deal.
Yeah, look at Bly's bank. Despite, you know, having trouble getting that fourth, it's still not mining. He still has a really big bank.
I wouldn't call it a really big bank, but it's big enough. You know, get a remax on Roaches, get some supply to the front lines really quick, but XenoCider's not really been granted the opportunity to take a big defensive fight where he's pre-siege and he catches Bly off guard, and he also not been pressuring him at the same time. So this has been a really slow play out of both, but I think Bly's just about finished buying himself time this game. Has he done enough with it? Hives on the way, Mutalisks are on the way. I kind of think, had he gotten Vipers, had he gotten Infestors behind this, yes, all the time in the world had been bought accordingly, but just what is mostly Hydralisks on 2-2. They've got a lot of damage, but they are glass cannons, as we always refer to. They do a lot of damage, but they can't take a lot of damage. Are they going to get concussor shells? That'll be a really nice snipe. There we go.
They're going to get the third base because he's even a nicer snipe. You know, the main's mined out, so he can just transfer it over, but he's also going to lose all the SCVs. He is killing the fourth base, which with another huge army. Like, XenoCider's only chance, it seems right now, is to take a very good engagement and hope
I
that
think this
like,
drop wins. I think this wins because you can't get back home to defend with Hydras. Off of creep, even with muscular augments. He shuts down XenoCider's newest mining base, but XenoCider shuts down all of Bly's mining bases.
That is true. It's getting a little interesting, and I still actually really do have faith that, you know, this does damage, and then the major fight comes. I still think XenoCider can win, and now this just means that the remax from Bly won't even be there.
Oh no! The pickup is so bad!
Yeah, but the remax won't even be there, and even if it was, it'd be coming like at, you know, different locations into the army. Like, losing that drop, those drops rather, is really quite painful. And now Infestors and Vipers are out, so I'm not sure about the army fight anymore.
No, I'm not sure either. XenoCider's not got any money really behind this. He's gonna put everything he can into this push, and he's gonna catch a lot of the Hydras, but without concussive shells, it's really hard to shut this down for a chase. So instead of getting 20 or 40 Hydras, you know, he gets 3 or 4.
He's down to 19 SCVs. He's transferring over the third to the newest base that he has. I guess the third is kind of mined out, but no well.
I like that he's taking this base. I think this one's way better anyways. You get the watchtower, you consolidate your forces.
I kind of wonder what would happen if he had taken it originally, you know? Like, would those attacks to the left have been as good?
Yeah, I think without... If you take the... I think if there's Mutalisks in play, the base on the left is better. If there's not, the base on the south is better. But setting up those siege tanks, he's going to have to creep forward. There's going to be fungals, but there's so many medevacs, he should be able to heal a lot of the fungal damage. However, here we go with the fight. Those blinding clouds are way too good. I think that's it. Ripping pepperonis, President Day. It is like Abraham Lincoln, except he got assassinated. Same with JFK.
Whoa, bro, that's my history.
Oh, sorry, did this go too far? Too soon. Too soon.
Too soon. Oh, this is game, though, and at least I broke even on my part 2, so all I'm going to say.
I think a lot of this for me comes down to that drop. He evacuated down here instead of pushing through, and I think he could have pushed through without sacrificing that army in the middle, but that drop was going to die no matter what. The fact that it died without doing much more is what I think sealed the deal on this. Oh, well,
Well, it is-
that's when you know you've got money.
Yeah, hydropurode.
His claws are like sticking a little bit above the ground.
Well, it's the last game. There is a quite, big difference between the prize pools. So, like, why not try and stick in? But
Yeah, I mean, it's $25 for second place. Sadly, that's where XenoCider's going to finish, though. He'll tap out, and game number 3 will go to Acer Bly with a nice 3-0, some Roach high.